Hey everyone, this is Fatal Hacker Asia Raven, and I'm finally back with my recap and review of Animal Kingdom. And the series is back with season number 5, episode number 1. And I have to say that I really enjoyed the premiere. It's quite possibly one of the best episodes. It picks up right after Smurf's death with the Cody men trying to figure out what to do next, because of course they know that Pope's cousins are after them because, I mean, they shot their father, they stole 1 million in gold, so of course the cousins are going to just let them be. So the episode opens up with Craig going to Ren, and Craig is like, you know what, we are in trouble, Ren, I need you to take Nick and get out of here, get to safety. And Ren is like, Craig, you need to talk to me, what's up? And this is where Craig tells Ren about what Smurf did, and that Pope's cousins are after them, and they are trying to handle the situation. We didn't cut to Darren, and he is on lookout duty, and I really enjoyed this scene because you can tell that Darren is very he's anxious. He's also scared. Like, of course, you too would be scared if you know that a bunch of preppers are coming after you with who knows how much ammunition and firepower. And I really like the scene where Darren is just sitting in the car, and he first notices this black Jeep, I guess. I think it's a Jeep or a Land Rover. I don't really remember. Anyway, he's suspicious of it, but it passes by, and Darren kind of calms down. But then Joshua ends up knocking on the window, and that startles Darren. I really liked that scene. So it turns out that the cousins are basically calling Smurf's phone, and yeah, the Codys aren't picking it up, but they know that it's only a matter of time before the cousins end up reaching Oceanside. We are back at the house, and this is where Pope and the rest of the men, they talk about what to do next. And Craig is like, you know what, Pope, this is 1 million in pure gold, we have to use this, this is ours. And Pope is like, no, Craig, we won't be using this. We have to give it back. It's not ours, and we have to give it back because we need this with this entire killing spree that the preppers might be on against us. We have to make it stop. And Darren is also like, you know what, Craig, Pope is right. And of course, Craig doesn't. He doesn't understand why Pope wants to give back the gold, but it is what it is. I'm just glad. I mean, personally, I'm like, you know what, give back the gold, but I'm also like, even if you give back the gold, there's no guarantee that the cousins won't still kill you. And you know what? We all know what happened in this episode. So we have a flashback, and we get to what young Janine is up to. And yeah, the kids have grown up. We have Julia and Pope, and young Janine has been teaching them young. She has taught them to swipe wallets, shoplift, and all of that stuff. And at first I was a bit concerned about whether or not I'll enjoy the premiere because, of course, Alan Barkin has left the show because the present version of Smurf, the older version, is dead. So I was like, is the show going to be hurt by Alan Barkin not being in there? But as far as my opinion goes, I think the premiere handled her absence quite well. We see Julia and Pope swipe this person's wallet, and as they're leaving the shop, they also, of course, shoplift some food. I think it's candy and a few packets of chips. Then we cut to the kids and their mom in the car, and Pope hands over the wallet to Smurf, and Janine is like, let's see what we have in there. And she also tells Julia and Pope that one time she ended up swiping a wallet, and there was a lottery ticket in it, and that lottery ticket ended up giving Smurf $50. And Julia is like, that's when you were with Dad, right? And yeah, of course, I like how Janine is keeping their father's memory alive by telling them stories and all of that stuff. So they end up finding a MasterCard in the wallet, and Janine is like, hey, how about we go for a swim, and also let's go have some food, some burgers. You can have a kiddie meal. Then we cut to Craig and Pope. They're waiting in the car outside a mailing station. I guess it's a mailing drop point or something. So they're waiting outside, and this is where again Craig brings up the topic about how Janine wanted them to keep the gold. The Pope is like, no, Craig, you have it wrong. That's not why. Wanting us to keep the gold isn't why Smurf did all of this. So just, you know what, just leave this topic. So they notice that something is wrong because the mailing drop point should be open by now. and they're waiting here because apparently that's the only address the cousins might have. So yeah, they figure out something's wrong. They go inside, and yep, it turns out that the cousins were already there, and they ended up beating up the receptionist there, who of course knows the Codys and he's loyal to them. And this is where the receptionist tells them that he ended up giving the cousins an address to an apartment, which, surprise, Pope and Craig didn't know about that secret apartment. So of course they head over there. While that's happening, we cut to Darren and Joshua, and this is a moment I was not expecting. After the lock, this is where Joshua is like, you know what, Darren? Smurf told me that Adrian was talking to the cops, and is that something I should be concerned about? And Darren is like, no, there's no need for you to be concerned. I handled it. And Joshua is like, what do you mean by you handled it? And Darren is like, I handled it. And I'm like, Joshua, this is not the time to bring up Adrian. That's a very sensitive point for Darren. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that Adrian has left the Codys and he's out of Darren's life, at least for now, because you can tell that the Codys are still in a lot of trouble, especially with Smurf gone. So keeping Adrian around, especially when he was also talking to the cops, that was a very big liability. Now, do I want Adrian to come back? Well, not necessarily. I would prefer Darren to go to Adrian. Maybe when the series ends, or maybe just go and meet him during the finale of season 5, or maybe during the final episode of season 6, because we know that this show has been renewed for a season 6. I imagine Darren just walking up to Adrian's new house in the final series episode and basically hugging him and kissing him and basically telling us that, you know what, this is a life that Darren has chosen. But you know what, I am babbling right now. I might end up talking about what I think should happen to Adrian and Darren moving forward in my written review, which I'll be doing for the Geekery. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below as soon as the review goes up, which will be, I guess, on Tuesday. On Monday, not Tuesday, my bad. On Monday. But yeah, let's see. So we cut to Janine, and yeah, the kids are at the pool, and this is where I was surprised, but not necessarily too much, because Janine has been teaching Julia to roll blunts, and I'm like, uh-oh. So basically, I guess these are hints about how Julia ended up getting into the habit of being dependent on drugs. And yeah, Julia even asks Janine about what's the difference between that and a normal cigarette. And yeah, Janine doesn't answer, but you can tell that Julia is being very interested in the stuff. We cut to young Pope, and he's basically organizing these different candies. Now, I think that this is supposed to be OCD. I'm not really sure. Janine ends up telling Julia to go have a swim, and while that's happening, she asks Pope to come over and basically rub sunscreen on her back. And this is where a kid in the pool starts to splash water towards Julia, even though Julia is telling the kid not to stop doing that. And Janine ends up asking a woman next to her about whether or not that kid is hers, and the woman is like, no, he's not. But then the woman is like, you know what? These kids are still playing, but you can tell that Janine and Pope are being quite annoyed that the kid is teasing Julia. So yeah, she tells Pope to go help her sister, and Pope goes there, and Pope basically starts to drown the kid. Like, I shouldn't be laughing at it, but I mean, that's exactly what a young Pope would do to protect Julia. So the woman sitting next to Janine, she gets up to rescue her child, and another man jumps into the pool as well. And Pope is not letting the kid go, and Janine is like, you know what, Pope, that's enough. And that's when Pope lets the kid go, and the woman is like, you are weird, I'm calling the cops on you, and all of that stuff. So Julia is like, no, not Julia, my bad. Janine is like, you know what, we have to get out of here. Then we cut to the Cody men, and they're outside the secret apartment, and this is where they notice Odin. I think he's smoking on the road, I'm not really sure, and they're like, you know what, we have to be smart about this. The rest of the cousins are in the apartment, we don't necessarily know what kind of weapons they have, so we have to think of a plan. And that plan involves Craig bribing a beggar on the street to go and pee on the cousin's car, and while Odin is distracted, Craig and Pope come in, and they take him hostage. And I was quite impressed that Craig ended up thinking about such a plan. You know what? Good for you, Craig. And while they're taking Odin upstairs to the apartment, we have a shot of Darren and Joshua jumping over, jumping from roof to roof, and I'm like, okay, do you guys, do you? So Pope and Craig take Odin to the apartment, and they knock on the front door. And while the cousins are distracted, Joshua and Darren end up breaking into the apartment from behind them. So yeah, the cousins are cornered, and this is where Pope is like, you know what? We just have to. I just need to talk. So let's all calm down a bit and have a talk. And this is where Pope tells the cousins that whatever happened between Janine and their father, it needs to end. They can have their gold back, and they can move, and they can go live their own lives. And of course, the cousins don't believe Pope, because as far as they're concerned, they don't know that Janine is dead, even though Joshua tells them that he's the one who killed her. But yeah, finally one of the cousins trusts Pope, and the cousin that I want to talk about, I think I have a picture of him. I do not, but yeah, he's the actor who played an older John Connor in, I think, Terminator 3, if I remember correctly. He was recently also in Fear the Walking Dead, yeah, the most recent season. So you know what, that actor, get your coin. So while Pope takes that particular cousin to the safe house to get all of the storage unit to get all of the gold, the rest of the cousins are sitting with Joshua, Craig, and Darren. And Joshua is looking at the pictures of his of Julia, a younger Julia, and the cousins ask who that is, and Joshua is like, "Yep, that's my mom." And this is where one of the cousins brings up a very interesting point. He's like, "Wait, so Joshua, your nephew killed your mom, and he's still alive?" And Darren and Craig look at Joshua, and I think that Joshua got a bit concerned in that moment. So Pope and the cousin comes back, and the cousin is like, "Pope, thank you for what you did, giving us the gold back, but you know that your father is buried on our farm, right?" And Pope is like, "Yeah, I know." And the cousin is like, "Why don't you come over sometimes and pay your respects?" And Pope is like, "Yeah, I guess I'll think about it." And this is where the cousins ride off, and yeah, the brothers ask Pope, is it done? And Pope is like, "Yep, it's done." And you know what? You can just tell that something is going to happen, and of course it does. So everyone is at the house, and this is where they take out Smurf's lasagna, and they all start eating it. And they remember how Smurf made tasty lasagna, and Craig wonders if Smurf ever wrote the recipes down, because one day Nick might be interested in what his grandmother's lasagna tasted like. While that's happening, Joshua goes into his room, and he places a picture of young Julia on a mirror. So yeah, he clearly misses his mom. And then we cut to a weird little comedic scene where the brothers are wondering what to do with Smurf's ashes, and Darren is like, "Craig, Smurf already bought burial plots for us, so of course the ashes are going to be buried in the plot." And Craig is like, "Wait, you can bury ashes?" And Darren is like, "Yup." And Craig is like, "You know what? One of my friends ended up smoking the ashes, the cremated ashes of, I think it was his father. I'm not really sure." And Pope comes in, and Pope picks up the ashes, and he walks out, because you know what, Craig might just end up smoking Smurf's ashes. That just might be something he might end up doing, and it would make sense for the character. So while Pope takes away Smurf's ashes, Joshua comes in, and he ends up handing the wills, a copy of Smurf's will, to Craig and Darren, and he's like, "Read them." And Darren is like, "Where did you get them?" And Joshua answers that Angela accepted them, and she was the one who opened them. And you know what, talking about Angela, where is Angela? I guess they sent Angela away because they figured that the house wasn't secure or something. But it's quite weird that Angela just walked away without us actually getting to see her in the premiere episode. Especially because the previous season ended with the boys going to beat up Angela's brother and asking him to leave her alone and whatnot. So Pope goes to the garage, and he decides to place Smurf's ashes in a safe. And then we cut to young Janine, And yeah, Janine ends up burning up the car of the woman who was annoying her at the pool. And I was like, you know what? Of course, Janine would do that. She's ruthless, she's cold, she's mean, she's calculated. And as they're driving away, the look on young Pope's face while he's watching the burning car, I am like, yup, that's a devil child. Of course, an older Pope has a lot of issues that he needs to address. So this is where Joshua is explaining to Craig and Darren about what Smurf wrote in her wills. And of course, the majority of everything is going to Pamela. And yeah, Darren and Craig is like, who the heck is Pamela? And Joshua is like, apparently she's someone that Smurf used to team up with way back. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing these boys and getting to interact with Pamela, because Pamela ended up teaching Smurf a lot. Moving on, while they're talking, the light goes out, and yep, you just know that something bad is going to happen. And it turns out that the cousins have arrived at the house to break in. They're wearing bulletproof gear. They have night vision. They have big guns, and it's a very, very action-heavy, tense scene, which I really, really enjoyed. So while the three brothers are trying to handle the cousins, Pope decides to handle Odin, and yeah, Pope decides to pick up a baseball bat. He fights and he ends up basically drowning Odin. And I was like, yep, this connects to what young Pope was doing to that young kid who was annoying Julia. So the episode's narrative kind of, circled back. While the brothers and Joshua are able to take down the cousins, only one of them is still alive. And of course, they have a limited time before the cops show up. And Craig, Joshua, and Pope, they carry the bodies as well as the still alive cousin, and they drive them away from the house. And yeah, Craig is like, you know what, Darren will have to handle the cops. And while that's happening, Darren rushes to the bathroom. He cleans up his wound. He tapes it up because he doesn't have time. Yeah, he wears a hoodie and he goes to meet the cops, and the cops are like, wait, what happened? And Darren's like, oh, we were just playing a game. It's nothing big. But the cops are like, your neighbors called about hearing gunshots and a lot of noise. And Darren's like, yeah, our neighbors are crazy. And the cop on the right of the screen ends up sending the cop to the left of the screen to just leave the case be, and he goes and talks to Darren. And this is where we find out that the cop on the right of the screen was actually working with the Cody family. He knew Smurf, and that's why he was able to give Darren some time to go into the house and bring him his bribe money. And before the cop leaves, he's like, you know what, Darren, this didn't happen when Smurf was alive, so you all need to tighten your game. And yeah, of course, Darren is quite pissed after hearing such a comment from a cop. It's time for them to handle the bodies, and Pope is like, Craig and Joshua, I need you to go back home. And yeah, Craig is like, wait, Pope, what are you going to do with the cousin that's still alive? And Pope is like, I'll handle it. And I was like, wait, is Pope going to kill that cousin? Is he going to burn him alive? But yeah, we got an answer soon enough. Then we get a flashback, and this is where Janine is eating these burgers with her kids, and Julia is like, Mom, Pope doesn't even like the toy that comes in the kiddie box, so why does he always buy it? And Janine is like, well, he just likes opening the box. So you can tell that Janine knows that there's something up with the young Pope. And Julia goes to talk to Janine, and she's like, are we always going to be traveling? And Janine is like, what's the issue? And Janine is like, well, Mom, it's just that I think that Pope needs something. I think that what Julia is getting at that is that Pope needs stability in his life. He needs some sort of structure. And Janine tells her kid to not worry too much. So turns out that Pope ended up using the alive cousin to dig the graves of his brothers. And yeah, that was ruthless. And you just knew that it was going to be time for Pope to kill the alive cousin. And the cousin that was still alive, he was like pleading for his life and telling Pope not to shoot him. And Pope does take out the gun. Oh yeah, this is the actor, the face. He ended up playing an older John Connor in Terminator 3. So yeah, the cousin is pleading for his life, but Pope is like, nope, turn around, get on your knees, it's time for you to die. And Pope does take out the gun, but nope. Pope doesn't shoot his cousin and he tells his cousin to run away. And Pope is like, you know what? If Janine was here, she would have made me do it. She would have made me take out the trash because that's who I am. But I guess with Smurf gone, Pope has started to figure out who he actually is and how he wants to live his life. And I'm like, you know what, Pope? I get that you let your cousin run away, but this can come back to bite you. And you know what? I'm saying it right now. If Pope doesn't survive season number 5, I would not be surprised. And if this cousin comes back with a vengeance, again, I would not be surprised. Maybe this will be a lesson to Pope that, you know what, in the type of world that they live in, they can't show weakness, they can't show kindness. But yeah, anyway, with Smurf gone, I'm really interested in seeing how Pope is going to handle being all alone, because even though he had his issues with his mom, he always had a connection with her. She was the one who kind of understood her. And I guess Angela has gone away too, so he's basically alone now. So let's see what happens to him. The episode ends with the kids basically vibing with their mom, and we get this shot of get this shot of Janine looking at Andrew with concern in her eyes. So yeah, you can tell that she's very, very concerned. While we also have a shot where Julia has her hand on Andrew's leg. So you can tell that Julia, yeah, both of these twins both look out for each other, and that's something that I really appreciate about them. But let's see how long these kids stay young, and if this show ends up bringing in an older cast to play them. That was Animal Kingdom season number 5, episode number 1. I think Red-Handed. That's the name of the title. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I have a lot of thoughts that I'll be writing down in my written review. So make sure to check that out. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below as soon as the review goes live on the website. Again, I enjoyed this episode. It was action heavy, it was quite intense, and yeah, let me know what you thought and down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.